Um, for those of you that this is going to be about livestock or getting information about livestock. If you think there might be livestock in your future, or you just want to learn a little bit or pick up a few things before you get into it, I think I mentioned this before. There's certain books you can buy, the story books and all this kind of stuff. Before you actually get into anything, or if you're just thinking about it, get the books, get the magazines and that kind of stuff, and just start reading what these people are doing. And I'm going to show you two magazines that I subscribe to. I'll show you one of these books. I got a whole bunch of these, but I think I mentioned these before. These are story books. Story's Guide to Raising Whatever. They've got like dozens of these. And these are reference books as far as feeding them, what's their temperature to be, what to look for if they're ill, this kind of stuff. This is more, these do pretty good. They're not perfect, but it's a good reference point, something to start with. But that's something, you know, you could get one of these. You get these on Amazon and just browse this thing and just see kind of the trouble, you know, some of the difficulty that certain animals have, whether it's sheep, goats, cows, horses, ducks, chickens, whatever. But something I think is, if you were thinking about some form of livestock, two magazines I'm going to point you to. One of them, I used this in one of my videos previously. I was making fun of it, but this is the put it here. The Grass Farmer, the Stockman Grass Farmer, the Grazer's Edge. This guy here, his name's what's his? I can't think of his whole name. Anyway, this guy's the editor of the magazine, owner operator, I believe. Writes some great articles in this thing. This is one of those. If when I first got into cattle, after a year or two, I kind of got into the grass-fed thing. I sold a lot of grass-fed beef, and which means we didn't feed them any grain. Finished them on grass or forage, and so I did. You know, I was online all the time, picking up more information about that, how they market it, this kind of thing. This is kind of the magazine that's kind of in that direction. Not just about grass-fed, but it's people that do a lot of alternative stuff. And I think if most of us would be in the small operator, you might have 5 or 6 goats, you might have 2 or 3 cows. You know, a guy with 2,500 head may not necessarily go. This may not be commercial enough, although there's commercial producers that write articles in here. But this is one of those. It's like $25 for a year. If you were thinking of getting into cattle, this covers sheep, goats, beef cattle, dairy cattle, and how these people market them, and some of the cutting edge stuff that they're doing. A lot of these people are too holistic and this kind of stuff. This is one of those magazines that has that kind of information, and it's, like I said, it's off the better picture up here. Anyhow, Stockman Grass Farmer. I get these all year, but I only read them in the wintertime when I have time. But this is one of those that, if I was thinking of getting into cattle, I wish I'd have had this before I got in, because I would have made different decisions. You read this for a couple, 2, 3, you know, half a year. You read a couple of these, and it'll change the way you think about cattle in a good way. You just become more educated, and it's the best to do that with a cheap magazine before you actually buy or get into an animal. Now I'll show you another one. This is my favorite. Let me see if I got 2 or 3 of them. These things here. I read these almost for entertainment, but Sheep Magazine. Yeah, there's a magazine. It's called Sheep Magazine. This is it. Okay. And the guy that puts this together, like I said, I got a library of these. I've done this for like 3 or 4 years. If I had to give up everything else, I wouldn't give up this. Just a great magazine. And the way the guy does it, I think it shows a picture of the guy here. And you can find these guys online. That's how I found them. I stumbled onto it. This is the guy. I believe it's his magazine. But well written, excellent articles, excellent topics. You know, they're talking about specifically sheep, the dairy aspect, the wool, textile aspect of it, the breeding, the meat, alternate things to do with these sheep, as far as there's, you know, some people use sheep to go and just mow areas down as part of a maintenance program, and then they get the meat from it. But this is just a well-written, well-done magazine, and it's entertaining to read. I mean, every time I read this thing, I'm learning something different, and I've changed a lot in my little program from things I pulled out of this magazine. So this is another one of those. If I was, there might be livestock in my future. Maybe we'll have that day where we go back to the land. I might get into some sheep or something. Get this now. You can learn about this now. You might read this and say, okay, maybe it's not something I want to do. Much cheaper to get a subscription that you could toss away instead of getting a herd of sheep that you got to deal with. But just it's an easy way to get in to livestock and learn quite a bit, learn some good stuff without actually having to get in. Like I said, for the things I've done, I wish I'd have gone that route first. Typically, I get into something, I go and buy it. And then once I buy the thing, then I go and start learning about it. Real backwards. That's why I got a horse. I never wanted a horse. I woke up one day, I had a horse. There's another thing as far as beef cattle, and it's a web page I'll put you to. And this one's really good because it changed. I followed these guys since 2000 and early 2000s. And when I started out with beef cattle, I was thinking a certain way. I don't think that way anymore. Totally different. But I had I was going one direction, then I kind of changed it a bit. And thank God I found some of this information, changed my direction again, and learned some a different way of doing things. But the web page, it's Pharaoh Cattle Company. I'll put a link down below. Pharaoh Cattle Company. The man's name is Kit Pharaoh, and they're out of northeastern Colorado. The name escapes me. It's a cool name, Cheyenne Wells or something like that, Colorado. It's a family, and they are a seed stock producer, meaning they raise bulls for guys like me. Okay, so if I'm in the market, let's say I got 30, 40 cows. Let's say I got 300 cows. Well, you got to have bulls to service these animals, unless you're going to go artificial insemination. Most people won't have live bulls out there with a herd. Well, okay, I want to buy some bulls. So you don't just go willy-nilly down the street to some auction and pick up bulls. You look for specifics that are going to complement your herd. So what you end up with is you end up looking at ranches that are seed stock producers. They're selling breeding bulls. That's their thing, is they breed. Their operation is about raising bulls to go deal with other herds, to go breed other herds. And whereas I'm considered a cow-calf producer. Let's say I got a guy up here in the foothills with 500 head. He's just raising beef. Okay, but he needs cows, he needs some bulls. And the majority of his animals are all going to slaughter. Well, these people raise bulls for him. Okay, and so these people here, the Pharaoh Cattle Company, they have a newsletter. They have every week or two they put something out. Then they have an annual newsletter. And go to their page and sign up for their get on their email list. Get all their stuff. It all comes via email. And read. It's usually 2 or 3 pages. Read everything in. If you're looking to get into beef cattle, these guys are very educational as far as what the industry is going through, what the industry has done wrong for 50 years. And you don't want to, if you were to get into cattle, you don't want to go in within the wrong paradigm. You don't want to go into the wrong system. Okay, because things are changing rapidly. And these people, it's very, very educational in these little emails that they put out. And it's all about low input cattle. Okay, and I want to explain what his herd does, but his emails do a great job of it. And but it's the PCC, Pharaoh Cattle Company, something. I'll put the link down below. But very entertaining. The guy's he's a Christian, and he also has what they call a Sabbath day devotional. He has a little thing too if you want that. And he has very interesting views about the Bible and the faith. But you don't have to sign up for that if you don't want to. That's just if you're into that. But I get a lot out of it from that aspect. But like I said, if you're just thinking about livestock in your future, or you want to know more, so maybe there's something you can use, I would definitely get the Pharaoh Cattle Company. Get on their email thing, because it doesn't cost you nothing. And it's great information. And the stuff they talk about is not what the industry is starting to change in this direction. It's going through a lot. but these people have an idea of where it's gone wrong and where it should be going, or where you don't want to go. You don't want to go in the wrong direction. And so great information there. Then you got these two here. You got this sheep magazine. If you're looking to get this specifically just about sheep, great magazine. I mean, if you thought sheep were, oh, you got sheep and they make lamb chops and that's it. Well, there's far more of resource potential to sheep than just the lamb chops. Okay, and they discuss all that in here. And then the other one was the Stockman. I always got to look at it to see what I'm saying. The Stockman Grass Farmer. This is the little news thing. I think this comes out bi-monthly, same as the other one. Great little magazine here. But for $50, I think that's a year, might even be a 2-year subscription. And in your meantime, you could be reading up on some of this stuff. And you might decide, okay, maybe cattle isn't for me, or whoa, I didn't know they could do that, or whatever. You're picking up good information, and for down the road, you may or may not get into cattle, but easy ways to educate yourself beforehand. At least it would enhance your decision making when it comes to something like this. So I've already let this go too long. But anyhow, you got the Sheep Magazine, Stockman Grass Farmer, and Pharaoh Cattle Company. Definitely go to the Pharaoh Cattle Company and get on their email list. It's just a great little newsletter they put out. You'll learn more than just about the cattle industry. So anyhow, if you're into livestock, check that out. Love you.